minutes, we'll let everyone kind of log in, and then we'll get started. All right. We'll give everyone a minute to hop on. I know sometimes Zoom can be a skosh slow when everyone's trying to log on. So I will start us off here in about the next minute or so, and then we'll let you do your thing, Shannon. Show everyone how Acumatica works.
Awesome.
All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. I'm sure people will be joining as we do this, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. My name is Megan Elwood. I am with Strategies Group. And yeah, today is actually our second. We will be doing these monthly, where we will be doing a Acumatica product tour. And these will always be on demand. We will have recordings. And this is something that we're going to be doing monthly. And yeah, so I mean, really, if you think of anybody who this would benefit, that, you know, whether it's somebody in the construction space, subcontractor, anybody who touches construction in any type of way, like I said, we will be doing these monthly. So this could be something good to, you know, hop on, figure out some things, and, you know, see some things, and see if it could be a good fit for you. With that being said, we will be talking about really discovering the future of construction management through Acumatica Cloud ERP. And really kind of what Shannon Ward, our presenter, will be talking about today. And without further ado, I will hand it over to him, yeah, to get us started and show us how Acumatica Construction Edition works.
Thank you, Megan. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome, and thank you for giving us some time today. Again, my name is Shannon Ward. I've been back at Strategies Group for about 2 months now, but long term, I actually started my software career with Strategies Group in '98. So have known and been involved with Strategies Group for many years. I'm very excited to be back here and being a part of an organization that is dedicated to representing one major ERP product. And so excited about that. I will go ahead and go to the next slide. So here at Strategies Group, we are a little bit different than, and it says traditional consulting firm. We are a value-added reseller, and we're a little bit different than a lot of others. We really do invest a lot in our people, in the solutions that we support, industry best practices, processes that maintain continued partnership. We really do look at this as becoming a trusted advisor for our customers, and building that partnership throughout. We really start a lot of our projects by eliminating a lot of the guesswork. We take you through a very thorough software evaluation period, very thorough discovery period of your company's and organizational needs. We lay out a very defined implementation process. And we utilize many folks here that work with Strategies Group. Our consultants have many years of experience in the industry or with technology, and many a combination of both. So that is a little bit about who Strategies Group is. We represent a number of different solutions, Acumatica being the main one right there in the middle. So everything with Strategies Group is about Acumatica Cloud ERP. We have a tremendous background in construction, but we also do some work with manufacturing companies, also with distribution companies, e-commerce, service type organizations. We're involved in many different areas. Kind of our, but the deepest part of our genes are all around Acumatica Construction Edition. A lot of the other software solutions that you see up here, all of them are certified, dedicated, third-party type tools for Acumatica. They all have really good integrations with Acumatica. And these are the ones that we take through our own process. Acumatica takes them through a certification process. We take them through our own process of making sure that the integrations are strong and there, and that they're going to be a benefit to you. So that's about the other solutions we represent. Again, we have, Acumatica does have multiple editions of the software. So they do have a manufacturing edition, construction edition, distribution, retail, commerce. There's others with field service and so forth, but these are the main 4 areas. We do run into a number of customers because software, historically, legacy systems were really dedicated to only one of these particular areas. We now are more and more running into companies that cross industry. So we run into manufacturers who manufacture a product and then they go and actually install that product or construct that product that they manufactured. Or they are not only a contractor for security systems or fire systems and other things like that, but they may also be a distributor of products to other organizations as well. And so we run into a number of these companies that cross over between them, but we also run into plenty of and have customers that are strictly in each of these edition boxes. All right, and so we're going to head on into the demonstration, and I'm just going to move one thing off of my screen here. All right, so as you see here, I'm on my Chrome browser. Acumatica is a fully web-based application. It can run on any, it's browser agnostic, so you could run this on Chrome, you could run it on Firefox, you could run this on Safari, whatever browser you choose. I typically use Chrome, so that's what I have here. I've already logged in, and when I logged in, it brought me to what is called my home page. Each individual user can have their own home page. That home page can be completely customized. We'll talk about that in just a minute. You'll notice up here in the right-hand corner that I am logged in as the admin. That basically gives me access to anything in the system that I need. And of course, from a demonstration environment, I'm going to be able to see everything, be able to look at any of the modules and get to any information. However, Acumatica is a roles-based security type system, which allows you to create roles within the organization that provide different levels of access to the information. It could also make it so that a certain role only has access to a certain homepage or dashboard. It can make it so that they can only see certain menu items that are available and so forth. So full security throughout Acumatica, all the way down to the record level if necessary. And so you can control not only dashboards and menu items, but getting into specific forms and screens, being able to control the information that is either able to be seen or written or anything like that. So over here on the left-hand side, you will see my menu items, or as we call them in Acumatica, workspaces. Acumatica has a lot of different workspaces available throughout the application. You'll see here, if I click on more items, it opens even more things. If I have an item in my more items that I want to pin over to my side, I just simply come in, click the pin, and add that over to my workspace, to the workspace menu. When I'm in the workspace menu, a workspace itself contains all the different items that you can get to within that. And in a workspace, they have what's called a quick menu or an extended menu. And in this case, I have the extended menu open. And you can see all of these functional areas within the construction workspace. Another thing up here, we call these quick tiles. And these tiles allow you to get to typically information where you're going to be entering information around it. So if I need to do a new project transaction or create a new project, I can do that using my quick tiles. This whole set of menu items here is configurable. So you can actually click that there. You can choose what's on your quick menu or on the extended menu. And then as well, like you see this big long list of reports, these are all reports that come standard with Acumatica. But those reports can easily be modified. They can be copied and modified and then saved as a different name in that list, in that menu list of reports, or you could completely customize and build a report all on your own. And we do provide the tools to do that with and the training. Coming down through here, you'll notice that we have construction, that we have time and expense, finance, banking, project management, all these various workspaces. If I was a project manager, I'm probably not seeing all of this various information. I'm probably just seeing my construction, my project management. I may have access to a little bit on the compliance screen. And maybe I might need to do a little bit on the purchasing side. All of that can be controlled by a role or an individual and so forth. If you notice in this screen here, I've got a couple of areas that are highlighted in yellow. That's just saying that I want that item to be over on my favorites. So when I click on my favorites, now everything is sorted for me. These are the things that I use on a day-to-day basis and go to the most often. I have seen many customers that eventually really truly just live off of this favorite side of the thing. They don't really use this very much with drilling in. Much easier to come to favorites and know, I need this on my construction side, I need to get to projects, than it is to come here and have to look through 150 different menu items to pick what I need. Also on there, I can create myself a little bit more space if I need to and collapse that. I also can edit this menu and move things around to where I want them to be. So going back over here to this front side, I'm going to come back to the home page. So on this home page, this is completely configurable by the end user. Of course, you can roll out different dashboards per role, but it's really getting into the individual user side of things where we can get really specific with the data that's presented. So right now I'm on a project overview dashboard, and I can see here I've got a data table, I've got some charts and graphs, information. I've got a video camera that's hooked up to a project. Of course, TrueLook is not an Acumatica product. We've just embedded a link for that. And again, more data tables and charts and graphs. And of course, this is the project overview dashboard. So I'm looking at more information that really is company overall. So maybe I'm a project executive and I need to be able to see all of my projects at one time. anything where you see a blue highlighted field, that's going to be drill downable. I also can drill down into the queries themselves that make up what we call widgets, all of these areas. Any of the charts and graphs are drill downable and so forth. If I need to make some sort of change, I simply click on design, and then I hit my pencil here, and it allows me to go into the configuration of that particular widget, tell it the information that I want. I can apply filters to it. I can do a number of different things to get that information to display the way that I want to see that information. And it is saving it based on for me. So when I log in, I'm seeing the changes that I've made. If I need to add a new widget to this screen, I simply click in. I can put in a chart or data table or embedded page, like the video camera that we were looking at, KPIs, links to other sites. We do have the ability inside of Acumatica to do pivot tables. And so I can actually display a pivot table, and it actually in the dashboard will act as a pivot. I also can bring in outside systems like Power BI tiles, and we have several other reporting type tools that we can bring in as widgets in Acumatica's dashboard. So again, this particular dashboard is the project overview dashboard, but if I was a project manager, maybe I want something a little bit more specific to me as an individual. So I come in here to my projects, and now when I get in here to my specific page, now I'm looking at information that is specific to me as far as the KPIs on a project. I can see whether I'm looking at my individual project camera here. I've got my items to approve, my ball and court, project summary, change order logs. All of these things are things that I'm related to. So if I have individual tasks that I need to take care of, anything like that, this is probably where I'm going to live to make sure that I'm doing my day-to-day task and addressing the things that need to be addressed on my individual projects. If I am more on the finance side, so maybe I'm not worried about specific detailed project information, or maybe I am, but I'll need to look at that at another time, then I can come into more of a view like a controller. So in my controller view, now I'm seeing financial information about the company and AR aging and AP aging and my cash position and so forth. And so from here, I'm able to see more financial type stuff. And you can see here, we've got a number of different dashboards, AP, manufacturing side of things, CRM. We do have a full CRM system. If I deal with inventory and warehouse, I have my warehouse manager or my purchasing manager and so forth. I can dig anywhere in the system that I need to, as long as I have the security to do so. Me as an individual, I can have 5, 6, 7 different dashboards that are critical to me. And so I can bring those in and utilize all of that information on a day-to-day basis. So right now I'm going to start going into construction, into a project itself. And before we get into the project itself, I'm going to start here with, when I click on projects, it brings me into basically what is a query in front of me. And it's basically providing that project list. And you'll notice several things about this list. And this is functionality that works throughout Acumatica. Basically, if I pull up projects or vendors or customers or bills and so forth, it's going to present me with a list. In every one of those, I can apply filters. So I can say, hey, I want to look at all the projects that we've ever done forever over time. I only want to look at active projects. Maybe I have some internal projects that aren't construction related. So when I go to construction, now I'm just looking at my construction projects. Or maybe I just want to see the projects that are in planning and not actively working at this time. So first of all, I can pull up my list of projects, filter and sort them however I want. All of my columns are sortable, and they base that on the information that is in them. So that if it is a particular date, It lets me put in my from and to and so forth. So I have tons of sorting type tools to filter the information the way I want to see it. So another thing that we do is we provide what's called side panels. And these side panels are where I can see additional information based on the project that I have selected on the left side of the screen. So right now I've just pulled up my customer tab in my side panel. And in just a second here, it's going to pop up the customer for this particular project. And then as I click through, it's going to change the customer based on the project that I've selected. Now, this isn't just showing me this information. This is actually a live data entry screen of the customer. So I can see their general information. I can see the financial information. What are our terms with them? How do we address billing? Any shipping, location, but let's say, hey, I need to really quickly find a contact for this customer and I need a phone number for Travis. I come over and I've got my email and phone number for Travis. So very quickly, I can see information. I can actually get to the project screen from here if there were any appointments related to this particular project. Matter of fact, this list could be completely definable by you. And so therefore you can have whatever information you want in your side panel related to the project information that's over here on the left-hand side. All right. So we're going to pick on our hotel today because it's got a lot of good information for us in the background. And this project is more of a general contractor type project. So if you're more of a specialty contractor, please understand that when I'm showing you task and revenue budgets and cost codes and things like that, all of that is fully customizable. This is not just made for general contractors. Matter of fact, sub and specialty contractors make up a larger percentage of Acumatica's customer base than do general contractors. Just a little bit, not much. So in a project itself, so up at the top, we always have header information about the record that we're on. And you're going to notice that throughout Acumatica, whether I'm in a purchase order or a change order or on a project or in a vendor or anything like that, these screens are going to look really similar. They're always going to have a header at the top. They're always going to have multiple tabs along the middle. And then they're always going to have information related to the selected tab down below that. Another thing you're going to notice throughout Acumatica is you are always going to have notes. And this is notes on the project record overall. You'll also always have files. And that is the files that are related to the project overall. On some of these, like if I go to revenue budget, you're going to start to see that I can actually do attachments and notes at the line item level within these tabs. So I could maybe attach something to the site work line item here on the revenue budget, but it's not going to show up on the cost budget. It's also not going to show up here in the files related to the project as a whole. It's only going to show up when somebody comes in and pulls up that revenue budget and sees that there's a note or attachment on that particular line item level. All right. One other thing is typically an activities tab is either going to be located in the tabs running along here, or the activities button is going to be up here next to the notes in the files. And activities is where throughout Acumatica, I am tracking the task and the items that have been completed or need to be done on a project or on a vendor or on a purchase order. Excuse me, I'm tracking the communication, emails that have been sent out, time that was entered against it, anything like that. It is constantly tracking activities. And you are able to date and timestamp, see who the owner of those activities were, and track all the activities that are on that particular project. All right, or whatever screen you're on, the activities will always show you what's happening as far as that is related. All right, so I've got my header information. I'm on the summary tab. In Acumatica, when you look at the revenue budget or cost budget, we can select what level those are done with. We've got start and end date times. We've got a project manager. This is all the basic information about this project. Do I want to track change orders on this project? Then I get down into my billing and allocation settings. We do have the ability to create billing rules for a project. In fact, we can have multiple billing rules if needed by task. So you could have a project that is construction progress billing and also have a change order in that project that is time and material billed and produce two separate invoices if necessary. So I do have billing rules and then allocation rules. We do have the ability to allocate costs such as G&A, a percentage of G&A expenses getting allocated to projects once a month, or other types of allocations as well. If I want to allocate a labor cost back to a project or some sort of direct cost to a project. We do have the ability to track multiple levels of retainage, also stepped retainage. So if hey, we're going to charge 10% retainage till we hit 85, 90%, and then we're going to switch to 5% retainage for the remainder of the project. So all of those capabilities around retainage, yes, we can easily bill retainage as well. And then AIA, we do have an AIA lookalike document, and I can choose at what level that's going to be presented as. Got visibility, and then quote number. If we do have a full CRM system, and if that CRM system, if this project was created by a quote in the CRM system, then it would bring in that quote reference number as well. So when we start scrolling across here, we're going to get to task, and the tasks are kind of like setting up the schedule of values. We've seen people use this in a number of different ways. It could be the schedule of values. It could be a way using segmented keys of separating out projects within projects. It could be a way of just your company is able to choose the structure of your project and the way that you want to look at that. Typically, what we see is that the tasks are going to be related to a schedule of values, and that is going to transfer over to your revenue budget. Do notice here that I can activate certain tasks and turn off certain tasks. All right, I can apply my individual business rule to each task. So some of these could be progress bills, some of them could be time and material billed. However I choose to do that. I can plug in my planned and start and end dates by task, and so forth. So I've got a lot of information here about my task, which eventually is going to work its way over to my revenue budget. The revenue budget is the side of what am I budgeting to bill out on this project. And of course, in our revenue budget, we have separated that out by a schedule of values, by task, and then I've applied an original budget. And of course, I have the ability to do change orders and then my revised budgeted amount. I'm going to come back to this revenue budget in just a second. Now we're getting into cost codes and into our cost budget, and you'll notice we've got a lot more detail here. So I've got a number of items related to task one, but I've got a labor item, I've got another expense item, I might have a subcontract item, an equipment item, a material item, and so forth, all in my account groups. And then I'm going to break that down even further into my cost code. And for some reason, my cost codes disappeared. So I'll show you one function we do have over here is the ability to move items around. So I'm going to go and move this back up towards the front. All right. And so we will put that right after account group. I say, okay. Now my cost code's in my list, so I am able to change my views around to be able to put this information in the way that I want to see it. And again, this is for me. When I log in, I'm going to see it the way I have it. When somebody else logs in, they're going to see it the way they want to see it. So this cost budget A lot of information here. You'll see I can just scroll and scroll, and I've turned off a number of columns just so that it's not as busy as it can be. I can move these columns around if I want to see something. If I want to see something in a different place, I can move them around and have them set where I want. If I want to break this down a little bit, or actually collapse it down a little bit to look at it by my original task, I can do that here. And then I can break it out even further into the detailed information. This screen does have the ability for me to be able to pull up particular information. So I can drill down on this by clicking on my committed invoiced amount and look at the commitment details. And so this is going to bring up for me and say, this information is related to a subcontract on this project. I can actually go straight into the subcontract from here and open and see the information in the subcontract itself. If I want to, I can come look at my actual costs somewhere, and I can pull view transactions. And now I'm able to see where these transactions came from. And if I needed to, I actually could go all the way over to the actual original document and drill right into the invoice straight from this project screen. All right, so I am still it's still on my project. One of the things that Acumatica did when developing the construction product was they took a lot of great advice about having everything to do with a project in one screen, so that I don't have to be going over and clicking different menus to try and drill into information or anything like that. Going back to the revenue budget. So on the revenue budget, I'm going to scroll over just a little bit here, and I'm going to scroll down, and I see here, I've got a draft invoice amount where I have changed this. And you know what? I'm actually going to come in here. I'm going to change that to 41% because I think we're doing a little bit better. I'm going to change that to 35%, but I actually think somebody kind of overshot that one. And so I'm going to do 27% here. And now you'll see that those numbers have been adjusted. And I'm actually going to take this one and I'm just going to make it an even 57,000 on my invoice amount. Let's see, where did that go? Oh, actual amount. Well, I froze something up there. I have pending invoice amount. There it is. No. That's what I did. I made it wrong. Let's put that at 34,000. There we go. So I made a correction here. Now I've got my corrected draft invoice amount. I'm going to say run project billing. So you would have the ability, if necessary. Not sure what I did. You know what? I've just figured out that I think I've already got an invoice out here. Yes, I do. I had already created an invoice for this. So you're getting to see the system actually catch me with doing some things that I'm not supposed to do. So now I am over in the pro forma invoice. I can see where these amounts were created already for a pro forma invoice. Pro forma invoice is kind of like a pencil invoice. So this allows you to be able to send this out to your owner, to a project manager or whomever, to take a look at the invoice that you're going to send out and make corrections before finalizing this and actually turning it into a GL/AR type transaction. So at this point, I've already been through an approval process. I just want to take a quick look at my AIA report. Real quickly, I see here, I've got my AIA, I've got my 702 lookalike. I'm going to go over to my 703 for my continuation sheet. I see here what everything looks good. I'm actually good with that now. And now I'm going to go back to my pro forma because I closed it out. I'm going to go ahead and release that. And now that is going to release that to an AR actual invoice to the customer, I do have the ability via DocuSign or Adobe Sign to send that out if I so choose, and obtain signatures. And when they sign it, it will actually come back in and attach as a file on that invoice record. All right. So that's project billing. I'm going to come back to the balances tab. This is kind of like a financial health of the project. This is a P&L on the project. Gives you the ability to see the income and expenses. Again, very good drill down capabilities. I can come over here, highlight my actual amount and say, show me the commitments related to that dollar amount. Show me the transactions related to that dollar amount. So I can drill very quickly into everything, but this gives me a nice high-level overview of how's the financial health of that project. On the commitments tab, I'm able to see all of my purchase orders and subcontracts on the project as a whole. I can, get directly to any of those documents. I can also see any attachments related to those subcontracts and purchase orders as well. And then from there, on the commitment side, I can go into my invoices, which I just showed you a second ago. So we've actually opened up this document and released this invoice. And once it's released, it'll pop over here and actually show the invoice on the ARGL side, showing the how it's tied to that transaction. These invoices down here are all where I have released retainage, and I have the ability to release my retainage right from this screen. I also can highlight any of these invoices and actually go view that AIA document. All of that in one screen right here on the project on invoices. Now for change management. So we actually have the ability in Acumatica. Well, I'm even going to go back further. We do have a project management piece where we have RFIs and project issues and daily field reports and items like that. But a project issue can become an RFI. A project issue can also become a change request. An RFI can become a change request. And then multiple change requests can be sent to an owner, and then multiple change requests can be taken from their approved selection and made into a single change order. So if I want to take change request number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and select 1, 3, and 5, I can make that change order number 1 and put them all together into a single change order. Also in our change management, we have the ability to do the upstream change, meaning to the owner, and the downstream change, meaning if there is a subcontract or a purchase order involved related to that particular change order, we can handle that as well. So it really does format a change order as kind of a full mini project within the project. So when I go into that particular change order, you'll be able to see that I've got a revenue budget for a change and a cost budget for that change. Also, we can run a change order and have it actually update the original budget of the line items that were affected by that change order. Or I could create a separate task in my task list and relate all of that particular change to the change order itself in my task list to be able to track it separately from the original changes that happened if I so choose to do that. All right. Leaving change and almost complete here. So we do have the ability to track unions. We do have a full payroll application in Acumatica that handles certified and unions. We do, again, have the activities tab. We do have the ability to restrict certain employees and equipment on a project. Main one I want to get to is down here under compliance. So one of the things we do with Acumatica is tracking compliance at the vendor level, at the commitment level, either purchase orders or subcontracts, and then at the project level as well. And any of those three can have various compliance components. But then within the project, when I pull in those certificates or proof of insurance or anything like that in here and that I need to track, I can do so. And of course, the system is always going to give me all the warnings I need around that. So if I try to go issue a purchase order to a new vendor and they don't have an updated COI, the system will tell me that. And then of course we can create a notification type system in Acumatica to be able to send out notifications to the vendors who have expiring compliance and asking them to send new updated versions of those. So we do have a lot of functionality around compliance and tracking that type of information. So finish off with construction. I'm going to come back out here and go into one of our reports. So I'm going to open up our project WIP report, and I'm going to open that up here, say run report. When I do that, you'll see here that in this report, as I scroll over, we've got our contract amounts, estimated costs, commitments, actuals, estimated gross profit, all of that. And we're going to get over all the way over into billings in excess, cost in excess, so my over under, my percent complete, and all of that. This is a completely customizable report. And so I can pull this report here. I can actually click here and drill into a more detailed WIP on the project itself. And now I'm all the way down into the cost code level of this detailed WIP report. All right, so I'm going to head back to this WIP. Now, maybe I don't want to see this information in a printed report type format. Maybe I want to come over here and see this in a different way. So I click into my project summary, and now I'm seeing very similar information again in more of a query type format. And again, in a query, I can make any of this drill downable that I want to. So if I need to get to the hotel project again, I can. If I need to drill into my open committed cost on this particular project, I can. So a number of different reporting types and options available in Acumatica, as well as downloading anything to Excel that I need to, that is available as well. Like I said, we do pivot tables in Acumatica, and we have OData connectivity to Excel, a number of different ways to gather information and report on information in your system. So thank you very much for the time. I hope that this provided a thorough overview for you of the Acumatica application, gave you a good look at how we handle a construction project. I'll finish off by saying there is a lot in Acumatica. So we have very good CRM application. That's customer relationship management. We have inventory, warehouses, field service, payroll. We have a number of different modules available for various types of general contractors, specialty, subcontractors, and so forth. So please let us know if we can work with you to go through a deeper evaluation of the product. And again, my name's Shannon Ward, and Megan, will pass it back to you. And are there any questions?
Yeah, there is. There's actually two questions. One of them is in regards to Sage 300. So they asked, we're currently on Sage 300. Are there any tools out there to make the transition of data easier? And also, how do we see historical data?
So historical data in Sage 300, I'm assuming.
Correct.
All right. So there is a tool. So there's a tool out there called Antera. And Antera is a business intelligence tool that actually sits on top of Acumatica. So when I was talking earlier about being able to pull in other systems widgets into the Acumatica dashboard, we can do that with Antera and pull widgets in and reports in from Antera. Antera has been around for 20 years. They are a very experienced group of consultants from the construction industry for many years. And in my opinion, somebody that's been involved with construction for 25 plus years, it is the best reporting tool of construction data that I have seen. It's very deep. One of the beauties of this is that it was originally created to sit on top of Sage 300. So they have the ability to pull the pervasive database of Sage 300 into Antera and turn it into a SQL database, and then tie that in with your new Acumatica database and be able to do comparative historical reporting with that Sage 300 data. It also allows you to pull that data into Antera, normalize the data, and then we can utilize Antera to assist with the cleaning of the data before we would import that into Acumatica. So when we're moving over master files of customers and vendors and all of that type information, we can utilize that tool for helping us clean up that information, because if you've been on the same system for 20 years, you probably got a lot of junk. And if you do junk in, you're going to get junk out. So we like to clean that up as much as possible in moving that data in. But Antera is a great tool for that.
Perfect. And then also the last question. So someone said, how do we get our estimates from a different system into the budget of Acumatica?
Yep. Great question. So there is one estimating system out there. It's called ProEst that does have, but ProEst has been acquired by Autodesk. So I'm not sure if they're still calling it ProEst or not. But they do have an estimating system that is integrated to Acumatica. Lots of people, though, have been married to their estimating for many, many years. I know plenty of people who are still out there using MC squared and various tools like that, that they've been using for 15, 20 years, Sage estimating, Quest, Maxwell. There's a number of different ones that are out there that have been utilized for a long time. McCormick on the specialty electronics, electric side. So with those estimating systems, as long as you can get that estimate into an Excel format, and then apply the correct cost code type format to that estimate spreadsheet, we can import that into Acumatica. So if I come out here to my cost budget tab, I've got a nice little spot here that is load records from file. When I click that, the first time, it's going to bring up the Excel spreadsheet that I have, all the fields in that. It's going to show me the represented fields in Acumatica. I map them. I make sure that they tie up together. And then I click go, and it would upload all of this information. This little button here, you're going to notice is, again, throughout Acumatica. So I've got that on the cost budget. I've got it on the revenue budget side. I've got it on the task. It also would be in areas like if you needed to upload an Excel spreadsheet of 300 GL entries, or things like that. If you do recurring entries, of course, we have the ability to set up recurring entries in Acumatica, but if you want to do those in Excel and upload a load of entries that way, you can do that. So that is how we load records from files from estimating systems. So as long as we can get it into the right format, and it's going to match up cost code wise with what's inside of Acumatica, we can load that right from a file.
Perfect. Well, those were the two main questions that we had come through. Thank you so much, Shannon. And like I had said in the beginning, this will be on demand. We will be sending out the recording for this, but you also have access to it forever. And like I said, we will be doing these monthly as well. So yeah, if you think anybody who would be a good fit, or you want to join us again to maybe see some other things, we will be doing it next month as well. We will send out a date and a date when we have all of that figured out. But other than that, thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope to see you guys next month.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.